So I'm going to do a little more on living together in community. I've been spacing on this one. So this one's about order. And it's from the micro to the macro. See, in the macro, you look at like politics. I mean, people, how mean spirited people can get. And it's all about control. People kill each other. All the wars that have gone down. I mean, every single one of them is about control. People killing each other, hating each other. So then we bring it down into Christ's community and becoming the answer to that which has been destroying. And see, built in everybody, we all have this same nature, this fear-based need to control. And, it's part of our own self-worship. And so being able to turn that around, first of all, giving control to the Father and recognizing that and practicing that in every way that you can. Now, living on the road in faith was a good place to start because here you are, you're entering into people's houses or you're entering into a community. Now, of course, we're way out there and a lot of the communities are freaking out, but our behavior is important. How we relate to that community, how we relate to a household that we go into. And I know for a fact that a lot of offenses occurred in the brothers and sisters' ways of doing those things. Different degrees of unconsciousness, born of arrogance generally, or selfishness, or just ignorance, bad habits. We're young. And a lot of brothers and sisters came out of places that weren't very healthy to begin with. Maybe their upbringing. But besides that, it's human nature. It just is. All kinds of ways that we justify our behaviors when they're not cool. So you go into a house, well, I've been really blessed in my upbringing and maybe in the nature that Amen gave me, that I'm a pretty sensitive person when I enter into someone else's stewardship and respecting it. And you become sensitive to what is given there. Like, here I am on the road, I'm in faith, I'm not monetarily helping these other people to take me in. And what Amen had told us down the road some years, he said, when someone invites you in their house, you can stay there 2-3 nights, and after that, unless they're asking you to stay and you're being called to help them with something, it's time to move. Being sensitive to the fact that you're being given something, not taking advantage of it, not shining them on and going, oh, I got a place to land now, and using stuff that has been given to them without recognizing that. And a lot of times the work that those people do to have those things and respecting and honoring that in that person. But even if it wasn't given to them that way, if it's given to them, and whatever way they use it, that's allowed by the Almighty, and respecting that, having that sensitivity. People in the world, of course, when they enter, the unusual kind of people that would allow you in off the road, they're still dealing with the world. And so if you go into their house and they can feel that you're sensitive and you're not going to take what isn't given and you're going to add as much as you're able, there's a comfort that comes on them. And they're happy to see you there. You can come back anytime. Not only just happy to see you, but even be calling out for, you to visit them. So then we take it into community. And living in community, like the way Amen set up our community, we have a number of households. And each household has its own little order. And in that order, people are put in charge of little things, whatever they may be. There could be one person who's more in charge of that property than others, and then that person is given that by the Father for a period of time. It's all temporal. It's not who they are. It's just a practice of stewardship. It can certainly be equally shared. It's according to who does the work. That's the bottom line. Who's doing the work? Are you taking care of the place? And if somebody else is doing an equal amount of work and taking care of whatever it is, the kitchen, the garden, the monies, that person is in charge of it. And then having a respect and a sensitivity when you go into each other's households, like even amongst one another. Seeing in the feeling of actually being in sync with the Spirit in all our interactions with one another, and the order, because there's always an order. It's in flux. It's in the Spirit. It's moving, but it's absolute order. And in the world, of course, that's lost. That's lost with all the false things that people think is important. That's how they lost it. Power being, having power, control. That being the biggest one. That people, even in a family, in a business. I mean, let's say you're giving a stewardship in a business and you have a number of people working underneath of you. How much of it is about you and how it serves you and what you get out of it? I mean, I'm talking the selfish self. And how much of it is to provide a place to serve others in every way, in what you're providing as a service, in a workplace. See, if people become conscious, that becomes their motivation. And everything changes, because now it's the Spirit of Christ that's ruling. And so here we have in our community, different levels, everybody in accordance to what we've accomplished in sensitivity, and it's always about dying to self. See, that's the whole happening here. It's always about that. And so the more that we do that in ourselves, the more sensitive we become in the moment. I mean, even in conversation, like we're sitting in a circle together and having conversation, and the ability to speak, we call it speak when you're spoken through. Now that one, my honest observation for right now is a lot of that's been lost, and that's a cause for me to bear. But there is a power in the times when I see everybody is in that flow and that the Spirit is moving around the circle and everybody's inside enough to be sensitive to what's given, not just talking for themselves and to hear themselves or to be accepted or whatever other motivation there might be. When that happens, it's magic. It's absolute. You can't deny it. You can see the ghost moving around the circle. It can even happen just through one person when everybody's locked in together and they're feeling the ghost coming through that one person and everybody's in it. See, there's no competition there. And yeah, competition. That's the word I was looking for. For power, for influence, for people attention on self. All those things are motivations, and they're secret unless you get down with it, and are really observing yourself and the Spirit what's in you. And then as you become more sensitive in yourself, of course, you see it all around you, how much people are accomplishing that in themselves, how much they're seeking to also, because, it's not a born into condition for a lot of people to be really sensitive to their surroundings and be able to yield what's being asked of, not by people, but by our Father's Spirit. So living in community, that is that ability to die to the competitive spirit for control and for attention, and to really wait for the Lord to be moving through you and to empower each other in that place. Because, when you're walking in the Spirit and you're living in community, you want to see our Father coming through each other. You want it. That's what it's not about me. It's not about him coming through me and look at me. It's about, yeah, man, this is my family. This is my people. This is my Lord. Amen.